host of the most, well, most of the time here in sunny side Dubai. I'm back in the building. I know it's been a hot minute. Hey, I've been, munching on a lot of Thanksgiving food, pumpkin pies, wine, whiskey, and also maybe a little bit of tequila too. Hey, it's a good time here. And plus also got to celebrate the 51st anniversary of the UAE. Get to celebrate and see the incredible abundance and also to reflect how many crypto companies, how many blockchain companies, tech companies are coming to the UAE. But that being said, as always here at the XCast, the official podcast of XC.com. I want to connect with various individuals from different spectrums of the space, whether it's protocols, DeFi, metaverse. But I'm also kind of curious about content creation. As you know, I'm just a regular Joe. I'm just a random guy on YouTube trying to make some content. But I got a good friend of mine all the way from Venezuela, as my Spanish folks like to pronounce it. He's been all around the world, doing what he does best, making content creation, Twitter excellence, you name it. So that being said, Thony, welcome to the XDcast. So.
Thank you so much for having me. I will do my best to deploy the best information to inspire and to bring people on board to the creation side.
Absolutely. Hey, love that. Love that. Hey, let's dive in. I know you got quite a crazy schedule. So, could you share us your origin story into crypto? Why a content creator like yourself got into crypto? Why of all industries?
Sure, 100%. As you said, I was born in Venezuela. It was maybe one of the highest economies in the world a couple of decades ago. But obviously, I don't want to get into the details of the governmental environment. Very bad things, very bad stuff. But obviously, when the local currency start crumbling, maybe around, it has been a slow burn process. But obviously, people has always been keen and prone to find other options to allocate their currencies. So when cryptocurrency came around, Venezuela was Venezuelan people, we were one of the first early adopters out of necessity, not because we were the technical guys, the tech guys, but because the case use of a decentralized currency was very appealing. And that solved a real world solution. And certainly right now, a lot of people pay just with Pi and Pays. It's like Venezuela, Argentina, many of these countries, they use crypto in their daily life, and not just young people or generation millennial, but even X generation, or even our grandma when go to buy bread in the bakery. Everyone is using crypto out of necessity because the local currencies are crumbling. So very long ago, maybe 2011, around that time, I got in contact with the Bitcoin world, the Bitcoin concept. So for me, Bitcoin has never been an asset I can trade or leverage. For me, it has been always a tool for freedom. It's like a tool to make a counter proposal to the to bad policies of government. So from that frame has always been there, and I have been evolving throughout the years. And I love like the long-term approach of the blockchain technology to solve real world issues. And that's kind of what sparked in me my willingness, my desire to communicate with other people, like the long-term approach, what I call the creator's vision, because I truly believe that the creators usually are the ones who are the idealistics. I'm sure, I don't know who is Satoshi, but I'm sure if I talk with him, he will be an idealistic, and he will not be thinking about, right now, because Bitcoin is in 17, 16,000. It's like, no, it's the value behind. It's a peer-to-peer system that can operate with intermediary. It's like the societal implication, the philosophical implication. And that's what I'm about, to talk, communicate with people, and to focus in the long-term vision of the space rather than the price we have today, or the NFT you can flip, or the next moonshot, or the meme coin, or the tweets of Elon to see if Dogecoin is going to pump. It's like the long-term vision. Let's focus in the fundamentals, and let's create a better world.
I love that, Tony. Thank you for sharing that origin story. How you got into the space. It's really beautiful, and I think it connects with a lot of people. It's my Hispanic friends, my Black friends. I also got some South American friends too. I think they can kind of connect to your story too. So definitely, I think it reinforces what I have been learning in the past from other people. And I love the part where you said, content creators, tend to be idealistic. In many ways, I do see myself obviously idealistic too. But I think I believe that idealism does help push the boundary of technology and stuff. It's not just ones and zeros and math and stuff. I think there is this energetic movement, when you share that ideas and, try to, like get people to, look into the stuff. I think it's a game changer in many ways. So, but that being said, speaking of content creation, I'm sure, look, you have been in the space for quite some time. Blockchain is incredible technology. It's a complex, complicated technology. Too much of jargons and blah, 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 NFTs, meme coins. I like some of the meme coins. They're kind of hilarious. But my shitcoin portfolio tanked. So, well, just a little bit disappointing. But anyway, sorry. Back, the point I was trying to mention is that, like the blockchain industry, like any tech industry, messaging has been a challenge. And we have a messaging problem in the crypto, blockchain, Web3 space. Would you be in agreement to it, or do you have your own take on what I have just said?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the incentive is key. So, for example, if you create a technology, and one of the use case is use that technology to enable a currency. For example, when Ethereum was created, a plethora of options were created. The currency use is one of them. But in smart contracts, you can transact value, for example, of a property, identity. There are many use cases scenarios, a plethora and endless list of options to solve real world issues. But the currency case is very easy for people to understand. So when that is the case, and you basically extrapolate everything that has been happening in the financial system and you bring into the crypto world, if we have a financial asset, let's create the leverage. Let's create a future market, and let's create contracts for. So the incentive is making money rather than the technology behind it and the other possibilities it enables. So it makes sense that if the incentive is making money, the messaging is around making money. And some people, bad actors, exploit that making money approach and scam people. And usually because people people don't understand how a low liquidity asset behave and the cycles, they usually get into the market when the messaging is hype. When there is hype around the world is when we have more new users. So it's like the messaging has been a reflection of the behavior of the space. for a very specific case, case of use, that is a currency. So I think once we understand the capability of using the blockchain technology in other realms, the message is going to be way more diverse and complex. So we will be communicating why and how we can use blockchain technology to give people, for first time in history, ownership of their identity. For example, I was born in Venezuela, and right now many of the complex and diverse issue we have is, for example, I have to pay $500 just for my passport, and I have to wait 7 months to get the passport. If everything goes in the right way, it is crazy. It is nuts. It doesn't make sense. But I'm not the owner of my identity. Maduro and those guys are the owners of my identity. So I can't move freely around the world because I don't own my identity. They own my identity. If we create a protocol where I can have my identity, and that entity is a self-custodial NFT, for example, nobody can take it from me. That is a very appealing case use. And we can be talking about how you can be self-custodial of your properties in the real world. For example, maybe you have a home and you believe that is your home, but it is not. Because, for example, if you got a ticket because you park in the wrong place and you don't pay that ticket, eventually in the right time frame you will get interest. And maybe the government will send you a message to pay and you ignore it. And maybe you have another, it's like that will increase. And in the right time frame, the government can take your home to pay a ticket because you didn't park in the right place. So if I can take something from you, it's not yours in the first place. It's like in certain scenarios, if you comply, so that home is yours. But for example, here in Spain, if you die for some reason, God forbid, but that is reality. If I die and I have a son, my son have to pay 50% of the price the government imposed. Right. So it's like my son have to buy the property to the government.
Yeah.
So is it my property if my son have to pay 50% to the government?
Good question.
So the blockchain technology enables to go back to first principle and re-engineer society in a different shape with a different approach. Because first time in history, we are enabling systems and protocols where we don't require a third party. That is an innovation. That is a philosophical, political, and societal innovation. That is the biggest breakthrough. For example, if we go back to 2,500 years ago with Plato, Socrates, they were thinking about the polis and how to run the best society. They came to the conclusion that the citizens in the agora, if they gather and talk about the issues of the polis, the best outcome was going to be the result of that conversation of the illustrated people. But obviously, in the real world, people had to do other things. So we had to delegate our power because we didn't have the option to vote real time. So we had to delegate our power, not because it was the best political idea, but because we had a technical constraint that didn't allow and enables to run the real best idea. So right now we are in a context where we can go to the same conclusions but apply those conclusions in a very different structure. Because right now we are able to have a direct connection with the decisions we want of the matters that are important for us, because we have a different technological scope.
Yeah.
So for me, all of this is important. And coming back to your question, why do you believe that the messaging around the blockchain technology has been just around money, or there is no balance? It's because people don't talk about this case use in the mainstream. But I talk about this every single day with my colleagues and friends that are creating in this space, because they know this. They are enabling protocols to do many of the things, but we usually don't talk about them. And that is the reason why right now I'm creating content, learning because I'm not the master of this. I'm just a guy who is learning and communicating in the process. And I learn from them and use the communication as a tool to create awareness. That's what I'm doing. And that is kind of my understanding of the crypto world.
Yeah, that's interesting. No, I definitely love the connection you bring with the past and what we have going on. Man, that's a lot to unravel and unpack. But definitely, it is something to definitely think about. So, just wanted to continue our conversation in terms of content creation and you know. But definitely, I'm not going to go into the current scenario with all the dumpster fire situation we got going on. But I think to me is just a distraction. But I believe in a long-term sense, because as content creators, we have to be idealistic. So we have you want to look forward. So I'm kind of curious about your thoughts, your future trends that you see in the crypto, blockchain, Web3 space.
I think the long term is kind of complex, because regulation, we can isolate the blockchain technology of the regulation context and the regulation environment. So if you analyze the proper way to analyze where we are right now, at least in my opinion, is to track back the money, where the money come from. So if you start analyzing who print the money, why they print the money, and how they allocate the money, then you can analyze how the power is distributed in the world. And then you can come to your own conclusion, what can be their interest. If you analyze, for example, the top, based on market cap, the 100 or 1,000, the biggest companies in the world, the bigger ones, and then you go to the shareholders, this is public information, you will see a pattern, a clear pattern. Vanguard, BlackRock, and BlackRock, they own each other, and they have like 10 trillion dollars of assets, their name directly. So you came to the conclusion that the money is basically power compressed into an incentive. Basically, people move because of money, but money is printed, and the guys who are printing it are allocating it basically all in a very specific way. Why I say in a very specific way? Because usually it's the minimum amount they need to have control over the board of every single company. So you will start understanding a pattern where it's very centralized at the bottom.
Gotcha.
So every single decision that happened in all major companies happen because they allow it. So if you then come to the conclusion that the power in the world is very centralized in a very specific group of people, then you must understand that creating a system where they don't have control over is something they will go against. They will attack somehow. If you, I think there is a very interesting movie, The Great Gatsby, and there is a guy who explicitly say, "Oh, we have to take care of these motherfuckers, these guys that want to take control over us." And that guy was in the aristocracy and was in the top of the world. And I think that character reflect how potentially, because we don't know who are the owners of Vanguard. And if we don't know about them, that is not an accident. It's on purpose because they control the narrative.
Right, yeah.
And it's very hard to access. So the crypto world has X amount of potential, but that X amount of potential just exists in a scenario where there is not friction.
Yeah.
And just thinking that there will not be friction is naive. So if you ask me, what is the potential of the crypto world? I will say, well, we can create the first DAOs, because DAOs right now are like in their infancy. It's like in the 0.1% of what they can be.
Yeah.
In the right time frame, DAOs can be the next governments, where people basically choose and implement how to run their society. You can have micro DAOs and then macro DAOs, and we can restructure the whole society with the blockchain technology.
Yeah.
So that is possible. That is the potential. But into the equation, we have to understand that we have to subtract the friction. And I truly believe the friction right now is not as near as it will be in the next years. And also the friction can be as potent as the people that is using that friction. So if the guys who are printing the US dollar try to impose their friction, but the US dollar is the world currency, the friction is higher than if, for example, BRICS, Brazil, India, Russia create a new currency, so the world is divided. So they cannot use the same friction at the same level because the power in the world is divided. So there are a space in the middle. So I don't know how this will evolve. I know about the potential in the middle long term, and it's basically the power to restructure the whole world society. That's what I truly believe. But I can right now imagine how it will be in 2 years. Because I believe these next 2 years will be critical. Central bank digital currencies. Will they create a money that they can program? And for example, you can use to buy crypto, or you have a limit to buy crypto. Will they impose that you can pay your taxes with just CDBCs? And maybe if you have a bad behavior, they destroy the CDBC that you already pay, and you have to pay more because that is programmable. So they can inflict a lot of friction. They can attempt to destroy the whole ecosystem. I don't know how it will evolve. I don't know.
I'll tell you what. When it comes to like CBDCs, I'll be upfront. I'm not a big fan of CBDCs. I think
I hate them.
Atrocious, and especially you're right. Specifically, they are programmable money. See, thing is, look, they can already directly take tax out of it, and you cannot use this CBDC. I don't think, definitely for sure, that they're not going to let CBDC be used for buying crypto, right? To enter the free market, the private market. But I think what I'm really concerned about CBDCs is, hey, you can program this amount of money to buy coffee, or hey, say for example, you want to buy some medicine and stuff. I get it, but you also have the freedom of choice whether, hey, you know what, I don't want to buy this medicine. You know what? I want to be happy. I want to buy a cup of coffee. All right, it's your money. You can use it, but if they can program it and you cannot do it, is it really a money? It's more like a coupon. So, I mean, this is a whole nother level. And I got to ask you this question. I don't want to dive into CBDCs. I mean, it's a long trail, but definitely that's something worth talking about. But you mentioned about 2023 and 2024, or the next 2 years
Mm,
being critical.
yes.
Why these 2 years are critical for you, me, and everyone in the space?
Well, the world power balance can change drastically. This winter, we will, a lot of countries will be forced to either use dollar to not use dollar to buy to Russia, and by
Yeah,
extension decreasing the power of US, and by extension giving power is like translating power to another uh, center of the world economy. And it's not just the money, because where the money is allocated and the currency that is used, then the people who is running and establishing the boundaries and how it is used is the ones who have the power. And when they are the ones who have the power, they have the possibility to set the rules of the game, the world game. So right now we are in a transition where we have Russia, China, and we have US and Central Europe. The power is moving around.
yeah.
So that is happening right now.
Mm.
And they have a different vision when it comes to freedom, liberties, and then the one where you have allocated the more if the power, because there is a direct correlation between the volume in transaction with certain currencies and the power of the people that, for example, if we use the dollar, obviously US and their regulations cover the space, the world, and by extension, the crypto space. But for example, if the money we start using and the currency is this new BRICS currency, this alliance between Emirates, Russia, India, Brazil, then we will have a different scope. So it's very complex, and I'm not a politician, but I know many things are in the ETH. It's like they are not
Yeah.
clear. They are in this space. Something is happening, and just what we know is like the spike of the information that is public, and in the background, many things are happening. So it's very hard to to understand where we are going in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't
No,
know.
no, no,
I
no,
just
no,
have some
that's a great
idea.
answer. No, that's a great answer. Um, it definitely does a lot to ponder, and obviously, end of the day, like we don't know, but we can see what's happening. So I think that's definitely alludes to the point that hey, the next 2 years are going to be critical for all of us, especially in this space. So, but that being said, I want to end this with your, you know, we know the next 2 years are going to be quite interesting. But that being said, so say for example, if you're advising someone who's entering the crypto space, or actually,
Hmm.
you know what? Let me be selfish. Let me be selfish. How about you advise me? All right. I want some advice. Your thought. I mean, I'm open to hear it. So hey, the next 2 years, 2023 and 2024, Marcos, here are the things that you need to watch out for, or prepare, right? Because hey, preparation is key. Preparation, keeps us wise and humble and ready to go. So please, what do you think should be critical for someone like me?
Well, I am a guy, a random dude that is learning, figuring out along the way. And for me, has been beneficial to filter the information I consume because I don't know where the ball is going to go, but I know the guys who have a better idea where the ball is and where the ball is going. So I listen to them. So I think for me has been very beneficial to find the guys who really know what they are talking about, analyze their results. It's a very good way, a good measure. For example, who are the guys who has been in the space for the longest time? Who are the guys who are millionaires in the space? Who are the guys I can at least use as a reference? Maybe not trust them. You have to absorb from different sources.
Good point, like that.
And then filter your own conclusions. But the better your inputs of information, the better approximations and conclusions we will have. So, for example, if you go to my Twitter following, I follow like 30 people or something like that. And I usually curate it, and I usually stop following someone for a while and start following someone else. So I invest a lot of time filtering the information I receive in all social media platforms. And I invest time researching the people I listen. I do that. I read their content, their old content. I try to figure out who they are, what they have been doing in this space. And yeah, it's like to ask myself, I just check social media. My perception of the world is a reflection of the information I have of our state in the world. Is the information I have. So what is my input of information, my source of information? I have to curate it. So I invest in time, and I'm intentional, the people I listen and the information I consume. So I will recommend for you, Marcus, and for every single other person that is listening to this, to invest time on filtering the information, curating. And I did it, works for me, and can work for you. It's like, I just stop following everyone. It's like I start from blank canvas, from scratch.
Okay.
Stop following, researching, and I start following few people in this space. And yeah, I think that is very beneficial. That is my recommendation.
Awesome. Hey, Tony, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that recommendation. I think that I think for me that's an evergreen strategy, and yeah, it does help because hey, look, there's a lot of noise out there, and also as human beings, we sometimes our views change too, and I know my views have changed, who I was a couple of years ago and who I am now. So definitely we are growing, and definitely just like the space, we are growing too. So, but that being said, Tony, we gotta go. But if people want to reach out to you, if people want to learn more about you, how can they find out about you? How can they reach you, sir?
Thony.io, or you can go to my Twitter. I'm very active on Twitter, _ Thony, or links.thony.io is where I have all my media links.
Awesome.
So
we'll share the links in the description below, as always, right here down.
Absolutely.
Awesome, God. Hey, Tony, thank you so much for taking the time. Really do appreciate it.
My pleasure.
But don't hit the leave button. But anyway, XE.com fam, thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you have received those words of wisdom, whether you're a beginner or an advanced person in the space. I think what Tony has to share is something really insightful. And if you are a content creator, I think we need more content creators. We need more podcasters like myself. I think there's abundance out there, and there's incredible opportunities. I think we just talked earlier about how big of a space the podcasting is, and especially in the media side. So I think many of you guys, also myself and Tony, we can have a nice take, a nice piece into the space, and also live authentically to what we are passionate about. So that being said, y'all be good, y'all be safe. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.